It looks like the latest flashpoint around Team USA and Caitlin Clark is here. And this time it's not about minutes, roster spots, or shot selection. It's about a number on the back of a jersey. The story that's been blowing up online is that Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to give up her famous number 22 for a new number at the upcoming training camp, and that behind the scenes, things have gotten heated. Some reports and social media chatter are even claiming Caitlin drew a hard line with USA Basketball, saying she's out if she can't wear 22, and that Sue Bird, now heavily involved in building the women's national team program, has been scrambling to contain the fallout, whether or not every part of that rumor mill is accurate. There's no question this has turned into a full-blown debate across the basketball world. Fans are furious, analysts are weighing in, and a lot of people are asking a simple question. How did something as small as a jersey number turn into yet another controversy around the biggest star in women's basketball? Before getting into the deeper issues and what this says about USA Basketball's approach, let's lay out what's actually on the table. Caitlin Clark's number 22 is not just a random number. For the last several years, that 22 has been as much a part of her public identity as her pull-up threes and full-court dimes. She wore it at Iowa while breaking scoring records and dragging college women's basketball into unprecedented national spotlight. She's wearing it now with the Indiana Fever as she brings WNBA ratings and attendance to heights the league has never seen. If you walk into a youth tournament anywhere in the country right now, you will see kids in 22 jerseys. You see 22 on t-shirts, replica tops, warm UPS, social media edits. Among women athletes worldwide, you can make a strong case that no single number is more instantly recognizable than Caitlin Clark's 22. For a lot of fans, that number is shorthand for the way she plays. Deep range, fearless, creative, competitive. Clark herself has said she only picked it originally because she was born on January 22nd and went with it as a kid. But at this point, it's not just a childhood choice. It's part of a global brand. So when USA Basketball's training camp roster sheet for December in North Carolina came out, and people zoomed in to see Caitlin Clark listed not with 22, but with 17, it exploded. Combine that with reports that she wanted to keep 22 and that Team USA said no, and you got the perfect recipe for outrage. On paper, this camp is supposed to be a celebration of the future of women's basketball. It runs December 12th to 14th and features names like Clark, Paige Buchers, Juju Watkins, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, Lauren Betts, and more, alongside established stars. Instead of all the attention being on the talent level and the lineups, the focus has shifted to what number one player will or won't be allowed to wear in practice. To understand how we got here, you have to zoom out for a second and look at the broader history of USA Basketball and jersey numbers. For decades, FIBA, the international governing body for basketball, only allowed jersey numbers 4 through 15 in official competitions. That's why in the old Dream Team footage, you see Michael Jordan wearing 9, not 23. That's why LeBron James has worn 6 for Team USA. That's why Kobe Bryant was 10. It wasn't random. It was enforced by international rules. Around 2014, FIBA relaxed those rules and now allows 0 through 99. But USA Basketball kept the old tradition. The men's and women's national teams still use numbers 4 to 15 for official tournaments like the Olympics and the World Cup. It's become part of the identity of the program. You can see it clearly if you look at the Tokyo Olympic roster on the women's side. Diana Taurasi wore 12. Chelsea Gray wore 8. Aya Wilson wore 9. Brittany Griner wore 15. Kalia Copper wore 7. Jackie Young wore 13. Every player had a number inside that 4 to 15 window. That's why nobody, not now, not in recent memory, has worn 22 in official USA competition. It's not some anti-Clark conspiracy. It's a long-standing numbering system the program has chosen to stick with, even after FIBA opened things up. So, what's going on with this training camp sheet, where Clark is 17 and Buchers is 19 and other players are in the high teens? Those are camp numbers. They're printed onto reversible practice jerseys, so coaches and staff can keep track of who is who in drills and scrimmages. They're not necessarily the numbers players will wear if they make a World Cup or Olympic roster. Paige Buchers, for example, wore 5 when she played for USA at the youth level. Caitlin Clark wore 6 in U19 play when she was MVP of the tournament. Now at camp, Paige is 19, Caitlin is 17. That change alone tells you these camp digits are not sacred. Where frustration really ramps up is when you combine that context with another fact. It does not appear that any player in this camp has been assigned 22. The number is simply sitting empty. From a fan's point of view, that looks ridiculous. If you know USA Basketball is not going to use 22 in official games, and you know this is just a training camp, then what's the harm in letting Clark wear 22 on a practice jersey? Why not give her the number she's known for, especially when no one else is using it? That's where some of the speculation about intent starts. People look at the Olympic snub earlier this year, which kept her off the Paris roster despite her enormous drawing power. They look at the drop in TV viewership for USA women's games at those Olympics. They look at this latest decision not to put her number on the back of a USA shirt, even in camp, and they start seeing a pattern. The narrative becomes, is there a deeper resistance inside USA Basketball to fully embracing just how big Caitlin Clark has become? Is there a discomfort among some of the old guard that, for the first time, a player might be bigger than the program itself? From a purely business and marketing standpoint, this is where USA Basketball's moves are hard to defend. Whether you personally like Caitlin Clark or not, there's no denying what she brings to the table. She's a rare women's basketball player who moves the needle across the entire sports landscape in the United States. She sells out arenas on the road. She spikes national TV ratings. She brings in mainstream coverage in places that never talked about the WNBA before. For an organization that publicly says it wants to grow women's basketball, it's not a good look to keep making headlines for sidelining or downplaying the one player who has clearly proven she can attract new fans to the sport. Now layer in Sue Bird. Bird is a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, a legend of the game, and now heavily involved in the leadership of the USA women's program. Reports have described her as being in the middle of this entire situation. Try to put out fires. On one hand, she represents the continuity and legacy of the program. On the other, she's now the one who has to manage a superstar who may not be willing to quietly accept old rules when they conflict with her modern brand power. If it's true that Clark's camp pushed back hard on the idea of giving up 22, even for a camp graphic, that puts USA Basketball in a very uncomfortable spot. For decades, the national team has been the pinnacle. Every player grew up dreaming of wearing that USA across their chest. The assumption was that anybody would sacrifice anything, minutes, roles, even numbers, for that opportunity. Caitlin Clark is one of the first players where you can legitimately say the leverage is closer to even. She doesn't actually need Team USA to be a global star. She already is one. The question becomes, what does she gain from joining them if she feels disrespected in the process? The Olympic experience and the chance at gold obviously means something. Representing your country is still a dream for a lot of athletes. But that honor is complicated when the Federation keeps making decisions that feel like slights. From Clark's perspective and from the perspective of a lot of fans, it starts to look less like tradition and more like an ego move by people who don't want to cede any ground to a player whose celebrity rivals their entire brand. That's why some insiders are saying Caitlin's message back to USA Basketball was essentially, if I can't even wear my number in camp, then maybe I don't need to be there. Whether she actually used those exact words or not, the vibe is that she's not inclined to roll over on something that she and her team believe is fundamental to her identity. And then there's the bigger picture. What's happening here with the jersey number is hitting a nerve because it taps into a much broader and older frustration in women's sports. WNBA players and women's national team athletes have spent years fighting for basic respect. Fairer pay, better travel, better facilities, meaningful marketing. They've watched governing bodies and team owners benefit from their performance and labor while still treating them like they should be grateful to be in the room. When the most famous women's basketball player in the world right now is treated like her personal brand and impact are an inconvenience, it sends a message. It tells every other player who doesn't have her level of leverage, if they'll do that to her, what chance do I have of getting basic respect? The timing also matters. There's already tension building around the WNBA's next collective bargaining agreement and the open talk of a possible lockout if player concerns aren't taken seriously. Stars around the league are increasingly outspoken about feeling undervalued relative to what they bring in for the league and its sponsors. So this jersey number situation doesn't exist in a vacuum. It becomes one more data point in the story of an ecosystem that still struggles to adjust to the reality that women's basketball has never been more popular, that its players have never had more individual star power, and that old systems of control don't fit as neatly as they used to. It's worth pointing out that Caitlin Clark is not the only prominent player associated with the number 22. Io Wilson has worn 22 in the WNBA and is an all-time talent in her own right. Cameron Brink also wears 22 in all-star game settings or on hypothetical future national teams. There would absolutely be conversations about who would keep 22, who might switch, who might embrace a new look. The difference here is that there is no actual conflict over 22 at this camp. Nobody is wearing it. Nobody is being asked to give up to accommodate someone else. USA Basketball appears to have simply decided not to sign at all, which makes the decision to stick Clark with another number feel arbitrary at best, provocative at worst. In the end, what you think Caitlin Clark should do probably comes down to how you balance tradition and principle. Some people will say, it's just a number. Suck it up, wear 17, get the gold medal, and move on. Others will argue that, for someone in her unique position, pushing back on these small, it's just how we've always done it decisions is exactly how things change for everyone coming after her. What's clear is this. The more USA Basketball finds itself in the headlines for how it handles Caitlin Clark, rather than how its teams play, the more it risks looking out of step with the moment. The national team needs her far more than she needs them. She is already rewriting record books, selling out arenas, and carrying women's basketball into prime time. Forcing her off her signature number, especially when no one else is using it, was always going to look bad. Doing it after an Olympic snub and amid a surge in her popularity has turned what could have been a non-issue into yet another self-inflicted controversy. Where it goes from here will say a lot about how flexible USA Basketball is willing to be in the new era of women's hoops, where players like Caitlin Clark aren't just names on a roster, but global brands in their own right,